Alright, NoGoodGamer here. Welcome back for episode 17 of Stone Block 4. This time around, the plan is to expand upon our ME network, this AE2 stuff that I have behind me. This is super starter level. And we're going to get some actual autocrafting up and going, because right now our only real source of autocraft is requesting things get printed from our replication back there. And by the way, just before I started recording this, I had another dog spawn in here, but not a normal one. This one's kind of famous. It's Clifford, the big red dog, and he is gigantic. Like, what the heck? What is this? I have Clifford. Anywho. So in preparation for this, I went through into the AE2 stuff, and most of the things like that were going to be needed in a lot of stuff, I kept coming through here and hitting shift on it to see if I could get it replicated. And as you can see with all the little pluses that are on here, meaning that I can request them, I got a lot of stuff stuck in there, including all the way up to the 256k storage component, which I don't know why it's not showing it right now. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of stuff in there, so it's going to make it a lot easier to do that. But now we need to set up actual auto crafting. And I went ahead and took down that one processor tower that I had over there. Because we're going to be moving to the new downstairs. So using the same elevators but in a different spot now, I've expanded into another area down here, and I ran cables from directly underneath it's that cable right there, just goes straight down into here, and I just have it popping into this spot right here. And I'm going to actually set up my actual ME controller down here. So I made a whole bunch more of these ME controller blocks, and I don't know if I had mentioned it last time, but these are technically kind of like a multi-block structure. So you can use one, and that gives you all the sides to access, but you can connect multiple of them around as long as it stays within a 7x7x7 block, and you can maximize the amount of sides you can access for more cables and more channels of output. Normally AE2 is 32 channels per dense cable, so basically each face could only do 32, but in Stone Block 4 they were nice to us and they quadrupled it for 128 channels for each dense, so it's a lot easier. You don't have to do the big old cube. So what I'm going to do is a pretty basic one, but I just remembered I also want to get a few more dense power cells or dense energy cells, and these were also something that we were printing. So I'm just going to get 4 of these. Oh yeah, I took all the CPUs off. I'll just go over here and print it directly, because you could always just come to the screen and do the same thing. And these are all the things that I have in here for it memorized. Like acceleration cards we're going to need to speed up AE2 machines, ME pattern providers, because we're going to use those to set up all the automation. The molecular assemblers, which are what actually do the crafting, like the crafting table recipes. Got a whole bunch of stuff in here, but what I need is the dense energy cells, and I'll just do 4 of them. Should be okay for a while. And that'd be 5, so we're gonna go boom, boom, boom. I think that was... oh no, I didn't go far enough back on this side. It's gonna take me a second to remember. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it'll be there. There we go. That was the spot I messed it up. And before I connect this, I'm going to have to grab that one ME controller that's upstairs and bring it down. I might need to do this as well, which I don't like. I'm going to use my exchanging tool because I have more of that anti-block in here, which is what I'm using for lighting. And I'm just going to replace these with that. So now we got light back in here. Now it's almost done, I just need to connect it. And honestly, I could just do like straight across, but honestly, it'll be best to just bring this cable straight down and connect it right in. But if I do that, it turns on, but it's all red because there's another controller that's separated from it. So I'm just going to come up here, snatch that up, and then replace it with a dense cable. And now the whole system is back online. But we're using this as our controller now. We're on this side, I'm going to set up our spot for CPUs. Because the way that I like to do mine is... Will you get out of my face? The way I like to do mine is I do them in 4s. So what I'll do is I'll stick those down the crafting storages, and then you put the 4 co-processing units directly on top. I accidentally put an extra one, so I didn't want to connect. But when you do like that, now all I have to do is run this cable up and over into it. Now the fun part is I can actually do something I forgot about until just right now to make this a lot easier for connecting cables like this. There's a specific item called I think it's a pipe tool. Pipe connector. Yeah, copper ingot, some string, and an iron ingot. Super simple to make. You can make it at any time. But it's super handy for setting up cables like this. Is right now I want to actually run this from this spot. And I'll go put this one here. And just by put that there now, so that'll be the connection for all 4 of them. Now while holding the pipe connector, shift, right click. Oh yeah, I need to offhand that. Shift, right click for position 1. Come over here and shift, right click right here for position 2. And now right now it wants to just go straight over like that. And I can, I think, yeah, shift and scroll. It'll change how far it goes, but I don't want that to go through the light and take that out. So I'm going to see if different pathfinding. I'm going to do that. Place pipes, because I can use my facade blocks to make that look normal again. I forgot about that. But now I have these 4 online. And then I can just do another setup like that, but I just want to stagger it so that these don't connect, because then they'll try to become one and it'll mess it all up. Just do that. And now we have all 8 co-processing units up and going. And the reason you have to have multiple of them is because each one of these is one process that can run at a time. And I don't have anything automatically using Autocrafting at the moment. So I'm not using any of them until I actually request anything. But if I want to do more than one thing, or if I want to do a job that requires multiple crafts ahead of it, you need multiple to get things going. Because if you don't have enough of them, then it just won't even let you start it. We've got the processors going, and now the next step is to actually get the crafting itself going. And these are pretty easy too, because all you gotta do is stagger these, because these are the ME pattern providers, same thing we used upstairs to connect to the one machine that we had to put like pink slime in, the dissolution chamber. But what we're doing here is we're gonna stagger them like this, so that this one can access 1, 2, 3 different ones. Same thing with this, but at the, as you keep stacking it, you'll have some of them that can access 4. So like right here, this one can access boom, 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 and boom. So it gives it the option to use multiple of them. And it turns out I made a little bit more than I needed. I apparently had enough to do 2 more layers, or like 1 more higher on both, but I just don't have the space. Not a big deal though. But with this, it gives us a lot of options for getting our crafting up and going. And it is now part of the network. In each one of these, takes one of those patterns that I was using before, that I put in the dissolution chamber. These things right here, basically. So one of the first things that I'm actually going to set up on this Autocrafting is going to be red matter, because I've been using replication a lot, and it is a long crafting process that I'm tired of having to do by hand and end up doing weird numbers of it, having too much of one thing, not enough of another, blah, blah, blah. So what I'm going to do, so I already have those in here. And the way that red matter works for the crafting process, when you do the stuff with Philosopher's Stone, this doesn't get consumed in the craft. And auto crafting usually has an issue with that. But what I've found is, at least with this, what makes it easier is just make multiple Philosopher's Stones. I have 4 in my system, and that on its own generally is all I end up needing. And it doesn't have much issues with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bottom of it. We're going to go alchemical coal. And then go right back through. And then alchemical coal turns into the Mobius fuel. And then Mobius fuel goes into Eternus fuel. And I have random stuff in my inventory that I don't need. But now dark matter uses this stuff. And I have blocks on the system already, so it shouldn't be an issue. So then I'll just encode that one for the dark matter. And then red matter is 3 dark matter and 6 Eternus fuel. And it doesn't matter which orientation, so I'm just going to click the first one. And then those 5 right there, that should work in our little crafting setup. I don't have a pattern access terminal up there yet, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to stick 1 in this one. I want 1 in this one. I'll go here, here, and then there. I just kind of want to spread them out because of the way they work in general. I do want to get a bunch of acceleration cards. So I've already taught acceleration cards to the replicator, so I'm just going to grab you know what? I need a few stacks, so I'll start with a couple stacks. And these will just come in 20 at a time because I have 20 replicators over there. There's 1 stack. There's 2 stacks. And you could just go into each of them individually, like clicking into here, or not on this, but there's upgrades right here for the assemblers. So if you go into the assembler, it has upgrades over here, and it'll take 5 of them if you just shift click it in. But you could also just shift right click and automatically fill all the ones that you're looking at. And grab the other stack, make sure. Yeah, and it'll give you a little thing saying you already upgraded that, so you know if you actually got all of them in there, like when you run out of them in your hand like I just did. Looks like I can. Looks like it knows how to do all of it. So I'm gonna hit start, and there's our 1. Now that works, so let's try to get a stack. Takes a second because there's a lot. And it looks like, yeah, see, when you start to get into the big numbers because of how much it's going to take 117,000 coal just to do this. So one thing I can do to actually make this possible is, why am I so slow feeling? If I take one of these, the 16K ones, and shift right click on it, I now have a regular crafting unit again, and I took that 16K out of there. And if I just increase the capacity and make a higher level one, so here we'll do this at AE2. And instead of a 16K, we'll say I want a 256K. Wait a minute, didn't it? Hold on a second. Apparently I didn't actually put my 256K in there yet, so I'm gonna do this real quick. Yep. Control click. Basically it requests what it's missing if it's something that can be crafted, and it printed it out for us. Now we can make our big 256K crafting storage. I didn't even plan to have to do this, but now we'll put that on there as a big crafting storage on one of those processors. And now when we go to red matter, it should work on the 1 stack. So it'll calculate it. No crafting CPUs are available. What do you mean? All I gotta do is add more coprocessors down the side of it, and then make sure that it stays in a rectangle. So now it has this much extra processing power. And honestly, red matter is pretty extensive on how much it takes. So it's a great way to stress your system out. Does this seriously say there's not enough yet? Because it says that my stuff's online. I don't know why. Yeah, device online. Is it seriously just not a big enough processor yet? That is insane. Now it's massive. Wow. Can I do 32? I can do 32 apparently. I must need a really big, that's a 256K crafting storage down there, and it still doesn't want to work. That is insane. Whatever, we'll make 32. And then we'll just do it again after. reason I'm doing this is I need to refill my replication system. Yeah, see, this is why I made sure to add those speed boosts, because this is thousands. Says it's gonna take 7 minutes. Like literally, the furnace itself is something you can replicate. So what I'm going to do is sacrifice the one I have to make more. And then netherite furnace. It's the fastest furnace for cooking. There's a higher tier furnace that you can make. It's the rainbow furnace, but it's more for power rather than actually cooking anything. Netherite furnace. I want at least 2 of these. Because one of them I'm going to put back. They're printable. So I'll just get, what is it, 8 of these ones. And then 1 of these. And that is another quantum ring. And with this, we can connect our network to the world engine. So we'll just stick it right here. Stick all those around it, and then stick the quantum glass right in the middle. And as long as you connect your cable to the center of it, bring it over. It's now technically online, but it's still not usable because we need to stick that thing in there. We need one of these, quantum entangled singularity, which means I need to get to make singularities. And the funny part, yet again, another thing I set up with replication is not singularities. Can't do that, unfortunately, and that would be insanely expensive if you could. But I set up the matter condensers, because apparently just the condensers themselves are printable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make I think I'll do 12. You know what, actually I want 20 of them. I'll do 10 for singularities, 10 for matter balls. So I'll do 20 of those. Those should all come in at one time. Well, we're going to take our 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I'll do 10. And for each of these, we're going to have to put in storage components. So for half of them, I'm only going to put in 1Ks. So I need 10 1Ks, and then I need 10 64Ks for the ones that I want to make singularities with. So we'll do that. Condense into matter balls. And then once we start pumping items into here, it'll eventually start to work. And then for the other ones, you throw in your 64Ks, and then you turn it twice into singularities. Woohoo. Oh, look at that. Already. I have matter balls. Yeah, they're slowly getting stuff. Yeah, it only takes 256 for a matter ball, and then yeah, it's 256,000 for a singularity. So while we're waiting for a singularity to print, I was looking through some stuff and I found out that you can use a reaction chamber to turn 64 matter balls and 100 lava into a singularity. So I'm thinking I need to get some intro to get that made, but I've been kind of prepared for that. I made an intro seed, and I stuck a Fluix block down, and what you do is you click that seed onto here to make a Fluix, like budding Fluix, basically. But I also found out I won't have to do this all that much, because if I get one, oh, it's Silk Touch. I need to not use Silk Touch. get crystals. So the intro crystal is something I could also print. So I don't even have to set up the funky little setup for getting this going anymore. Get a stack of intro crystals. And honestly, this is a good point to start setting up a little bit of the autocrafting. So I want to get the crusher on the autocraft. So I'm going to stick that right here. Stick a gate on it. And then using one of those pattern providers, make sure it's pointed at it, because right next to it I'm going to do another one. Nah, I'll do that over here. I'm going to put one here, click it, rotate it, because on top of that I want to stick one of the furnaces, because I'll take that with the factory upgrade so that it can do this and be powered. Put that on there. And now I can request cooks. And then for this one I'm going to put on speed, since it's going to be a requested type thing. And then this I'm going to make sure that we have bottom as input output and front as energy. And auto eject is already on. And for the crushing, we can also test that too, because the way you set these up is, say, like intro dust through the crusher. On the crusher, you can encode that pattern, put that down here, and here, stick that in. And I have all the intro in my inventory, so it's not in the system. So if I go like this and I request 64 of this, what it's going to do is it's going to print the intro crystals, and then it's going to put the intro crystals into here. And there it goes. And then we'll get our intro dust out of that. Now to get these intro infused ingots, I'm going to need intro dust, gold, and lapis. Let's try this again. There we go. It's always satisfying when it's in stack like that. So now I can hit. And now that I've got that, I should be able to get the, let me go, singularity again, here, reaction chamber. Because I need an extended machine frame, which, yep, I can craft now. So I'm going to grab one of those. I'm going to stick the intro in the system. And now, what else did I need to make it? It was that. I need 2 ultimate control circuits and a dense energy cell. I don't know how long this is going to take. Not long. We will do the same setup, where I'm going to do that, click, and then rotate, make sure that it's pointed up, and I'm going to stick my reaction chamber right on the side of it, or right on top of it. And it says device online. Good, good, good. Now, while in here, singularity, reaction chamber, encode, and then stick that pattern in there, and we should be able to request one. Oh yeah, auto export enabled, and now it works. Now we have our singularity. Redo. Boom, boom. Light it. And just like that, we created our quantum entangled singularities. and it's hooked up to the back side of this, all you do is you put in one of these, because when you make these, it makes them in a pair and they are automatically coded to each other. You can only have these two linked to each other. You can't change anything about that. And if you end up mixing them up with a different pair, good luck figuring out which one's which. It's really annoying. Which I did rework, and that's the cable right there. I just have it facaded and I have it going around to the back. But we'll put this other one in here, and just like that, we have our AE system hooked up to the pattern provider that is at the world engine. So if we come over here, that right there now says, it says offline, hold on. Device online. Device offline. Is another matter of it just being weird again. Yeah, see, it says device offline for the channels, though. Oh, is it because I just had to reconnect that? Or is it not wanting to connect to the back right now? Wait a minute. Why are you not connecting? Hold on. Oh, it wants to connect to there for some reason? That is strange. Well, I guess I'll just do it like that then. Hey, let me out of here. Online. There we go. So now we just got to make sure that on these outputs is auto output to the back. And each of these slots needs to be done like this. And then last but not least, I want to set this to block. I think it's blocking mode I wanted to put it on. Or is it lock crafting? I think it's lock crafting. There we go, yeah. So right now it's unlocked, and what this will do is it makes it to where when we request things for in here, it won't overload it and end up like completely erroring the whole system out. The other thing that I wanted to set up this episode, wireless. Tired of doing all this stuff all over the place. So what I'm gonna do, I set up these wireless receivers, which are a component for making all these things, on the replication, because they are printable. I'll leave those in there. So what I end up needing is, I want wireless crafting terminal, which requires a wireless terminal, which is printable, thank goodness. And it's funny because I have both of these on all three of these technically on Autocrafting. Crafting terminal. And then just in crafting, all you gotta do is I'm gonna go crafting terminal, access, and I think you just have to do two at once, so then it'll be universal and then add the pattern encoding to it. Universal again. And then to make this all work, we need an access point, which takes these three things. And this guy we can kind of just stick on the network wherever. I'm going to slap it right there. And then stick that in to here. That should be linked now. So if I open this, I can do all my same stuff in here. But it doesn't have, and then I should hit Shift E, or no, Control E. Yeah, Control E opens my stuff for that now. But it doesn't have much range to it. So what I'm going to do is wireless boosters. A stack will max out its range. So making those, come into here, stick those in, and now I can go pretty much anywhere, and I have access to my crafting. And one thing that I do want to do, I forget what it's called, it's like a label maker or something like that. Yeah. This one. So what this does is it allows you to rename pretty much anything. You right click, put it in here, rename it. What we're gonna do to make things a lot easier to sort out while we're looking in our pattern access terminal is I'm gonna pick up this and we're gonna go, because it'll just call it a ME pattern provider, or it'll call it a dummy because it just doesn't know what it's attached to. Name it World Engine. And then now reattach that back onto here. And if we go back into here and scroll down, we now have the World Engine tab. And now we know that if we put it right here, it'll be putting it over here, so we don't have to run back over here and just to be sure that it is. But if I just go deep slate, smelting, encode pattern, and then the one that's attached to the furnace, I stick that there, and he's already on auto split. Cool. And then just to be sure that I have, yep, the diamond gear is on there. And I have that already in the stuff too. So now I can go into here, go to my pattern access terminal, go to the factory thing, and code that with the World Engine pattern. Go over here, all the way to the bottom for World Engine, stick that in, and now I should be able to just request one. There we go, input output, that's what was happening. Why is it still not? Oh, auto output on. Again, kinks. But yeah, that alone did it, and then it sent it right to where it needed to go. So now I can go upstairs and get my auto smelting setup set back up. Then go ahead and come back in here, stick that boy right there, slap that in, give it a gate again, and then bottom output, top input, auto output. Left input, auto input, yeah. Alright, we are set. And that's back working on the system. And then I'll put the fuel efficiency in there just to make it cost less power to run. Because this is always running pretty much. Because I have a lot of stuff that gets smelted constantly. Autocrafting makes this so much faster. Crystal matrix block will be another one that's super easy. Just encode the block, encode the matrix, and then encode the lattice. Stick those in, go back, and then crystal matrix blocks, 4, I think that's what it was, 4, yeah. And just like that, that's Dragon Dude done. Now that I've done that, the reason I suddenly ran through that one was, one, I can unlock all his stuff and get his level 9 things, which is really awesome. I could also get a maxed upgrade thing for 225, which is dope for like crushers and stuff like that. But honestly, the main reason is because I want to get my dark matter pedestal. I need to do submit, submit, submit. Whoa. And now that it finished, it actually did my craft. That's funny. Give me my dark matter pedestal. Yeah, that's not supposed to be on there. This is supposed to be on there. And then I turn it on. And now I have 10 additional bone chickens that are fully maxed out on the system, so I should definitely be getting a lot more into here. Alright, and with that we've gotten our AE2 normal basic setup fully done. From this point forward, it's just expanding, adding more things that are going to be on the auto-crafting system, adding more patterns to the pattern providers and all that. We've got our matter condensing going over here, added a whole bunch of chickens to feed that system. Got our wireless connection to the world engine, and even got the worm rights little first quest done so that we can get our dark matter pedestal up for the training of these chickens. It was a lot easier now that I have auto-crafting up. I just kind of set everything up for it and said, give me. But if there's anything in this that you have any questions about, don't be afraid to leave a comment on the bottom. I'm having a hard time figuring out how I want to say things, apparently. Is there anything that you guys want me to explain more of in the future, possibly? I think next time we're gonna possibly do a little bit more setup and then start running around to do some of those little boss fights that I have to do for the one side. And then we'll save the ancient city stuff for a single episode on its own. But you guys know the drill, you know, leave a little love, leave a little hate. Whatever you do, at the end of the day, the most important thing. So you have a good one.